Today we're going to practice working with some of the percent equations that we've been working on over the last few days that involve money. And in our first example, we're told that a bicycle is on sale for $189.50. The sales tax rate is 5%. They want to know what will be the total price. And so what we're going to have to do here, since we're talking about the sales tax, is use the tax equation. Okay, and that equation says that tax is equal to a percentage of the subtotal. Okay, so in this example, well, for the tax rate, they've told us it's 5%. We'll convert that to a decimal by moving the decimal back twice, which will give us 5/100ths. And the subtotal of the bike is $189.50. What we're going to have to do is calculate how much tax there is. So we're going to use T for tax. And in order to get the tax, all we have to do is multiply 5/100ths by $189.50. And when you punch that into your calculator, you get the decimal 9 475 thousandths. Now you need to remember that tax is money, and money only has 2 decimal places. So we're going to round this to the nearest hundredth. Looks like 47/100ths, but that 5 is going to round us up. So the amount of tax is going to be $9.48. Okay, and then the store is going to take the amount of tax and add it to the subtotal to get the total price. So we'll take the subtotal, $189.50, and we'll add $9.48 for the tax, which is going to be $198.98. And so we can say that the total price of the bike is $198.98. In example 2, we're told that Rose and her 3 friends are eating out for dinner. The bill was $45.80. They want to leave a 20% tip. How much would each person leave for a tip if they split the tip equally? Okay, so again, they're talking about a tip in this example, so we're going to use the tip equation, and that says that a tip is equal to a percent of the original bill. Okay, and they tell us that they want to leave a 20% tip right here. So we're going to move the decimal back twice to make it a decimal. That's going to become 2/10. And the bill was for $45.80. $45.80. Okay, so we're going to calculate the amount of tip. We're going to use G for gratuity. That's another name for a tip. And to get the amount of the gratuity, we're going to do 2/10 times $45.80. And when we punch that into our calculators, we get 9 16/100ths. So the amount of the tip, the total amount, is going to be $9.16. But they want to know how much will each person leave if they split the tip equally. So we have to take the amount of the tip, the $9.16, and divide it by the number of people. And we were told that there's Rose and her 3 friends, which means that there's 4 people. So if you do $9.16 divided by 4, all right, that's going to give you 2 29/100ths. So that's going to mean that each person should leave a tip of $2.29. In example 3, we're told that Rick bought 3 shirts for $18 each, 2 pairs of socks for $3.99 each, and a pair of pants for $45. The sales tax rate is 8.5%. How much did he pay? Okay, so we're going to be calculating a sales tax here. Okay, and one thing that we need to know for the sales tax is what the subtotal is. So that's the first thing that we're going to have to figure out. We've got 3 shirts for $18 each, 2 pairs of socks for $3.99 each, and the pants for $45. So to get the amount for the shirts, there's 3 shirts, $18 each, so we'll do times 18. And then we're going to add on for the socks. He's getting 2 pairs. They're $3.99 each, so 2 times $3.99. And then just the 1 pair of pants for $45, so we'll have to add $45 at the end. So 3 times 18 is 54, plus $3.99 times 2 is $7.98, plus the $45. And when we add these 3 numbers together, that's going to give us a subtotal of $106.98. Okay, and so now in order to get the price that he's going to pay, we have to calculate how much sales tax there's going to be. So again, tax is equal to a percentage of the subtotal And the tax rate is 8.5%. Move that decimal back to the left twice, which is going to be 85 thousandths. Times your subtotal, which we just calculated to be $106.98. And that'll tell you the amount of tax T. So when you go ahead and you multiply these two numbers together, that's going to give you a decimal of 9.0933. But again, this is tax, which is money, so we've got to round this to the nearest hundredth. It looks like 9 hundredths. That 3 is not enough to round us up, so our tax is going to be $9.09. Okay, so we need to remember now that tax gets added on to the subtotal, so we'll take that subtotal of $106.98. We'll add the tax of $9.09, and that's going to give us 116 7/100ths, which means that Rick paid a total of $116.07 for his clothes. In example 4, the Rodriguez family went to dinner at Pasta Palace. Mr. Rodriguez ordered the meal for $6.25, and Mrs. Rodriguez ordered the meal for $7.50. The two children ordered individual pizzas for $4.99 each. The sales tax rate is 7.25%, and they left a 15% tip. So how much was the total bill? So there's a whole lot happening here. We've got to get their subtotal, we've got to figure out how much the tax is, we've got to figure out how much the tip is, and then all together at the end, what the total bill is going to be. So let's start out with the subtotal. All right, Mr. Rodriguez's meal was $6.25. Mrs. Rodriguez's meal was $7.50. And then the two children each got an individual pizza, $4.99 each. So plus 2 times $4.99. Okay, so we're going to have our $6.25, our $7.50, plus if you do $4.99 times 2, that's going to give you $9.98. And so when you add the three numbers together, your subtotal is going to be $23.73. So this is the price of the bill right now. Okay, so we've got to calculate the tax and the tip. Let's start with the tax. Tax is equal to a percentage of the subtotal. And the tax rate, they told us right here, was 7.25%. Move that decimal back once, twice. That's going to be 0 and 725 10,000ths. Times your subtotal of $23.73, and that'll tell you your tax. Okay, well, when you multiply those together, you get a decimal of 1 and 720,425. So again, tax is money. We need to go to the hundredths place. It looks like 72 hundredths, and yeah, that 0 is not going to round us up. So your amount of tax is going to be $1.72. Okay, so now that we've got the tax, let's get the amount of the tip. So for the tip, that's a percent of the original bill. Okay, they're going to leave a 15% tip. Move the decimal back twice for 15 hundredths. And again, the original bill, the subtotal was $23.73. And that's going to give us G, the gratuity or the tip. Multiply those two numbers together, and we get the decimal 3 and 5595. And again, the tip is money, so we've got to go to the hundredths place, 55 cents, but that 9 is going to round us up to $3.56. Okay, so now we've got all the information that we need. So now we can come up with the total. We're going to take the original bill, the subtotal of $23.73, and we're going to add on the tax, and we're going to add on the tip as well. And when we add these three numbers together, that's going to give us 29 1/100th, which means that the total bill was $29.01. Example 5 tells us that Megan bought 50 beads for $9.95, and she received a 10% discount. She also paid a sales tax of 6%, so we need to figure out how much she paid for those beads. Okay, so we have to first calculate the amount of discount, all right, because tax is only paid on the amount that you're going to pay. We're not going to pay all $9.95, so let's start with the discount. Discount is equal to a percentage of the original price. Okay, and we're told that it's a 10% discount. So we're going to move the decimal point back twice. So 1/10 is going to be our rate. The original price of the beads was $9.95. And we're calculating how much the discount is. So we'll multiply these two numbers together. When we do that, we get the decimal 995 thousandths. And again, remember that discount is money. So we have to go to the hundredths place, 99 hundredths, but we're going to move up to 100 hundredths, which is really $1. Okay, so our discount's going to be $1. Okay, now for the tax, tax is equal to a percentage of the subtotal. We need to figure out what that subtotal is going to be. Well, the original price was $9.95, and the discount was $1, so we're going to subtract off $1, which is going to give us a subtotal of $8.95. Okay, so I know my subtotal is $8.95. The tax rate is 6%. Move the decimal back twice, which is going to be 6 hundredths. And that'll tell you the amount of tax T that you need to pay. So when you go ahead and multiply those two numbers together, you get the decimal 537 thousandths. But again, tax is money, so we have to go to the hundredths place. Okay, and 53 hundredths, but that 7 moves us up to 54 hundredths, meaning the tax is 54 cents. Tax always gets added to your subtotal. The subtotal was $8.95. Add the tax of 54 cents, and you're going to get a total of 9 49 hundredths, which means that Megan paid $9.49 for the beads. Number 6 tells us that Eric bought a canoe for $333.75, and there was a sales tax of 5 25/100%. What was his total cost? So we're going to have to calculate how much the tax is so that we can get the total cost. Tax is equal to a percentage of the subtotal. And they told us the tax rate is 5 25/100%. Move that decimal back twice, which is going to give us 525 10,000ths, times your subtotal of $333.75, and that'll tell you the amount of tax T. We go ahead and multiply those two numbers together, and we get the decimal 17 and 5,21875. Tax is money, so we'll go to the hundredths place, 52 hundredths. The 1 in the thousandths place is not enough to round us up, so the tax is $17.52. Tax gets added to the subtotal, so 333.75 plus the tax of 1752 is going to give us a decimal of 351 27 hundredths. So the total cost of the canoe, is $351.27. Number 7 says that Shane went to the salon. The cost of his haircut was $16, and he tipped the barber 15%. So what was his total cost? So we'll start with the tip. Tip is a percentage of the original bill. He left a 15% tip, which becomes a decimal of 15 hundredths. And his haircut cost $16. So we need to figure out what his gratuity will be. So if we multiply 15 hundredths by 16, that gives us the decimal of 2 4/10, which means that the tip is $2.40. The tip gets added to the subtotal, so 16 plus 2 40 hundredths is 18 40 hundredths. So the haircut cost Shane $18.40.